The silence of my mind echoes louder than the noise around me, yet it seems like no one truly understands the weight I carry inside. Sometimes it's not about finding the right words to say, but about finding the courage to keep moving forward when everything feels too heavy. In the quiet moments, when everything is still, that's when my heart speaks the loudest, even though the world refuses to listen. I want to scream, but all I can do is breathe, because there are no words to explain the turmoil inside me. The storm inside me rages while I wear a smile, and no one has ever asked if I'm okay, or if I need help with the weight of this storm. It's like being surrounded by a crowd of people, yet feeling utterly invisible, as if no one can see the battle I'm fighting within myself. Every thought that crosses my mind feels like 1,000 pieces of a puzzle that don't fit together, leaving me lost in the confusion. I don't want to talk about it because there are no words to capture the chaos that swirls inside me every second of the day. When I look in the mirror, I see someone who's been through battles, and yet there's a part of me that no one will ever truly know. I don't have the strength to explain myself to others, so I just carry it silently, hoping someday it will all make sense. There are days when the weight of my thoughts feels like it's too much to carry, but I don't say a word because no one would understand anyway. The hardest part is not saying anything at all, even though everything inside me is begging to be heard. Sometimes I wish I could pause life for a moment just to catch my breath, but the world keeps moving and I have to keep pretending everything is okay. I hold everything in because I don't want to burden anyone with the heavy thoughts and feelings I carry, but I wonder how long I can keep pretending. There's a quiet kind of pain that exists in the spaces between words, in the silences where nobody dares to ask, "How are you really doing?" Sometimes I feel like I'm drowning in my own thoughts, trapped in a sea of emotions that no one can see or help me with. I long to be understood, but how can anyone understand something that even I don't fully comprehend? The weight of my own mind sometimes feels like 1,000 bricks, but I carry it silently, pretending that I am fine. I wish I could put my feelings into words, but every time I try, they slip away like sand through my fingers, leaving me empty and lost. The quiet is deafening when you're holding in everything you feel, hoping for a moment of peace amidst the chaos in your mind. There are days when I feel like I'm invisible, like the world is moving around me, but I'm stuck in a place no one can reach. The hardest part about what I'm going through is not being able to explain it, not having the words to make someone truly see how I feel. I wish I could tell someone about the storm inside me, but there's a part of me that's afraid they won't believe it's real. Sometimes all I want is someone to ask how I'm doing, but not just in passing, but with the intention of truly understanding. It feels like my thoughts are a tangled mess of emotions, and no matter how hard I try, I can't seem to untangle them. I carry the weight of everything inside, yet when I speak, my words feel too light to express the heaviness of my heart. There's a kind of loneliness that comes from carrying your thoughts and feelings in silence, wishing someone could see past your smile and understand what you're really going through. Even though I don't talk about it, it doesn't mean the pain isn't real. It just means I'm trying to find a way to handle it on my own. My heart aches with emotions that I can't seem to control, but I keep it hidden, afraid that if I let it out, I'll break apart. There are moments when I wish I could say everything that's been running through my mind, but the fear of being misunderstood holds me back. I don't ask for help because I don't think anyone could ever truly understand what's going on in my head, but it doesn't stop the weight from feeling unbearable. The quiet pain is the hardest to bear, the kind that doesn't show on the outside but feels so overwhelming on the inside. It's like I'm speaking in a language that no one else can understand, and no matter how much I try to explain, the words never come out the way I need them to. I want to tell someone, but the fear of burdening them with my emotions makes me stay silent, even when my soul is crying out for release. It's strange living with feelings that you can't express, like carrying around a secret weight that no one else can see or help you carry. I find myself stuck between what I feel and what I show the world, and I'm not sure which part of me is real anymore. I don't always know how to explain what I'm feeling, but there's a heaviness in my heart that never truly goes away. Sometimes it feels like the world moves on while I stand still, caught in my own thoughts, struggling to make sense of what's going on inside. The hardest part of being inside my own mind is that there's no one else who can truly experience the storm that rages inside me. I long for someone to see past the surface and understand that my silence doesn't mean I'm okay. It means I'm overwhelmed. There are moments when I feel like my thoughts are a storm that nobody else can see, but I have to live with it every single day. I wish I could speak up, but sometimes the words get stuck in my throat, trapped by the fear of not being understood. It's hard to keep pretending that everything is fine when inside I feel like I'm falling apart piece by piece. Sometimes I feel like I'm living a life that doesn't belong to me, like I'm playing a part, but the real me is hiding in the background, waiting to be seen. I don't want to burden anyone with my thoughts, so I keep them to myself, even though it feels like they might consume me one day. There's a sadness that exists in silence, where you long to speak, but the words never seem to capture the depth of what you're really feeling. Every thought is a battle, every emotion a war, and I stand here silently, fighting to keep it all together, even when I don't know how much longer I can hold on. I wish I could explain how overwhelming everything feels, but words are never enough to describe the whirlwind of emotions inside me. The hardest part is feeling like you're surrounded by people who care, yet still feeling so incredibly alone with your own thoughts. Sometimes I wish I could step outside of myself and look at my own life from a distance, just to understand what's really going on inside me. I try to keep going, even though every step feels like it takes more effort than the last. It's exhausting, but I keep moving, hoping one day it will all make sense. There are days when I feel completely lost, like I'm walking through a fog, not knowing which direction to take or if I'm even heading in the right way. I keep pretending everything's okay because it's easier than explaining the storm inside me that no one can understand. The thoughts never stop, racing through my mind with no end in sight, and I'm left to wonder if anyone else ever feels this way. I don't know how to explain the heaviness I feel, but every day I wake up and put on a smile, hiding the weight inside me. The moments when I'm alone are the moments when my thoughts come crashing in, and I feel like I'm drowning in everything I can't control. I want to tell someone how much it hurts, but I don't know how to put into words what I've never been able to make sense of. Sometimes I feel like I'm standing on the edge, caught between wanting to escape the pain and fearing what will happen if I do. I carry my thoughts with me like a heavy backpack, and every step feels like I'm walking through the world with a weight no one else can see. There's a kind of sadness that lingers in the air, a quiet sorrow that settles in your heart, but no one ever asks about it, and no one ever knows. There are times when I feel like I'm trapped in a room with no exit, my mind racing while I search for a way out that never seems to appear. I wish I could explain the exhaustion that comes with pretending everything is fine when inside I'm falling apart. The hardest part is not knowing how to express the weight of my thoughts, so I carry them alone, silently hoping someone will see through the silence. There are days when I feel like I'm floating through life, disconnected from everything and everyone, searching for something to anchor me. I don't want to say anything because the fear of burdening someone else is stronger than the need to be heard. My thoughts are like a constant noise, a buzz that never stops, and sometimes I wish I could just turn it off, even for a moment. I wish I could take a break from myself, just to breathe and feel like I'm not constantly battling with the chaos in my mind. I look around at everyone else, and it feels like they all have it together, while I'm over here just trying to keep it together long enough to make it through the day. It's strange how I can be surrounded by people, yet feel so deeply alone, like I'm carrying something that no one else can understand. I've learned how to mask the pain, to hide it behind smiles and small talk, but inside, it's a different story. It feels like I'm walking on a tightrope, balancing between wanting to be understood and fearing the vulnerability of letting it all out. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever truly know peace, or if I'll always be trapped in this endless cycle of thoughts and emotions that seem to have no end.